I want to talk more about this black brown thing, man, because it seems like this is a conversation that we've been having in this city for over 20 years. I don't feel like we're any better off in 2023 going into 2024 with cohabitating, co-living, working together in this city, in this county in Southern California from these two different cultures. Actually, it's more than two because we're not just dealing with Mexicans and blacks, but we got blacks that are immigrating from different countries. We got Latinos that are immigrating from different countries. And it just seems like it's getting worse.
Right. And let me tell you this. Okay, I'm Mexican, indigenous, Indian. There is no other race or any other person that's going to make me feel inferior because of the color of my skin. And nobody else, a black man, an Oriental, Asian, should be the same way. Okay? But I understand the politics. Things happen in prison and they trickle down into the schools, into the high schools. I don't know if you remember, but back there was a lot of racial riots in the 90s that trickled all the way down to high schools, and they were having racial riots there. Okay? First of all, let's be honest. California is a gang-based vicinity. This whole area is gang-based. And it's not about color. It's about gang politics. This gang don't get along with that gang. And it's going to happen, okay? Because if you look at it, you got all these youngsters running around saying the N-word, dressing like they're black, talking like they're black. So obviously it isn't a color thing. It's a gang politics thing. That's why there's never going to be any kind of correlation that all these people were talking about. It's non-existent. It's not going to happen because one man can't, not one man can change it. It has to be a group effort for everybody to change it. And that's never going to happen. There's too many people on the black side that are talking negative about Mexicans, and a lot of it is not even having anything to do with the Mexicans. A lot of it is different nationalities. They just assume we're Mexican. And the Mexican ain't going to do it because, the same reasons. They're just not going to get along. They're just not going to see eye to eye because we're always pointing fingers at each other, and that shouldn't be like that.
All right, Shalom. This is the brother Nahalia from the GMS Orlando camp. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rokah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yashar Allah. And a sincere salutation to all you Akim, who are preaching this word and believing this word, and to the Akwath who are believing this word in all truth and in sincerity. Yahweh is the name of the one they ignorantly call God. Yahweh Shai is the name of the one they ignorantly call Jesus. Bahashem is in the name. Rakah is spirit. Kodash is holy. Akyam is brothers. Akwath is sisters. Shalom means peace. And Yashar Allah is Israel in the ancient Paleo-Hebrew. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 54. And it reads, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother and toward the wife of his bosom and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. This is also Zechariah chapter 11, and I will jump down to verse 14. And it reads, then I cut asunder mine other staff, even bands, that I might break the brotherhood between Judah and Israel. All right, I want to go into a lesson inspired by the clip you just saw. All right, that clip was of a podcast that mainly deals with gang politics on the west coast of the Americas. All right, LA, I believe. And this was a discussion about the so-called black and brown conflict. All right, and for edification, Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians are the children of Israel. We're not Negroes, we're not Latinos, we're not black, we're not brown, we're Israelites. And I want to highlight through the spirit that all of this ultimately goes back to prophecy. The Lord said he would break the brotherhood. And when you look at that and you look at the curses, it's easier to see why this conflict is present, especially over there in the West Coast where they deal primarily with gang warfare and gang politics. All right, but I want to highlight through the spirit some of the things that led up to this, if you will. All right, this split. All right, because ultimately it goes back to prophecy. All right, the Lord rent the kingdom. All right, I want to bring out some examples through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai. So I want to jump to the beginning of this conflict. All right, and let's go here. So we're going to go to 1 Kings. All right, I want to get it in the blue letter. So we're going to go to 1 Kings, and I'll start around the 11th chapter. All right, just to highlight, because again, for those who don't know, the Northern Kingdom are the so-called his Spanish-speaking tribes, the so-called Hispanics, the so-called Latinos. All right, whether they call themselves Brazilian, Colombian, all right, Mexican, all right, Puerto Rican. Ultimately, they all go back to the Northern Kingdom, all right, as tribes. All right. So through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai, there was a split. All right. The Southern Kingdom makes up the Negroes, West Indians, and Haitians. That will make up the Southern Kingdom, which is referred to as Judah when you deal with this conflict. All right. This is why the Lord referred to Israel, and then he will refer to Judah. When you look at history, Israel, all right, or the Northern Kingdom went into captivity under the Assyrians. And then after that, the Southern Kingdom went into captivity by the Babylonians. And this is where the beginning of the statue that Daniel saw begins according to prophecy. That's just a little bit of history, but I want to read how it got to this point. All right. So 1 Kings 11:1. But King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and Hittites, of the nations concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Yasharallah, you shall not go in unto them, you should not go into them, neither shall they come in unto you, for surely they will turn away your heart after their gods. Solomon clave unto these in love, and he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart. For it came to pass, when Solomon was old, that his wives turned away his heart after other gods, and his heart was not perfect with the Lord Yahweh by Shema Shai's power, as was the heart of David his father. For Solomon went after Asheroth, the goddess of the Zidonians, and after Milcom, the abomination of the Ammonites. And Solomon did evil in the sight of the Lord, and went not fully after the Lord, as did David his father. Then did Solomon build an high place for Chemosh, the abomination of Moab, in the hill that is before Jerusalem, and for Molech, the abomination of the children of Ammon. And likewise did he for all his strange wives, which burnt incense and sacrificed unto their gods. And the Lord was angry with Solomon, because his heart was turned from the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, the power of Israel, which had appeared unto him twice, and had commanded him concerning this thing, that he should not go after other gods, but he kept not that which the Lord commanded. Wherefore the Lord said unto Solomon, for as much as this is done of thee, and thou hast not kept my covenant and my statutes, which I have commanded thee, I will surely rend the kingdom from thee, and will give it to thy servant. All right. So this is the proclamation that the Lord has made against King Solomon after King Solomon went after other gods. So the Lord said he would rend the kingdom. All right. Now let's go into the word rend. And then I'll start to move towards some of these key examples of this split and how real this split got. All right. Because, we read it, but the split between the Northern and Southern Kingdom was real. All right. Many people died as a result of this conflict. And when I say many people, I'm talking about Israelites. This is the beginning of the full scale Israelite on Israelite violence when you deal with the Northern and Southern Kingdom, because after this was proclaimed, things begin to go downhill. All right. Now I want to get this word rend. All right. And the word rend is quara Quara. All right, it says to tear, tear in pieces, to tear, rend, to tear away or out, to tear, rend asunder, to make wide or large, to rend open, to hear, rend, to be rent, be split asunder. So as a punishment, the Lord basically split the kingdom up. All right. Verse 12 reads, notwithstanding in thy days I will not do it for David thy father's sake, but I will rend it out of the hand of thy son. Howbeit I will not rend away all the kingdom, but will give one tribe to thy son for David my servant's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, which I have chosen. All right. So we start to see through the Spirit that the Lord has proclaimed a split between the northern and southern kingdom. All right. Between Israel and Judah. And this is how it started. King Solomon went off, and the Lord, as a punishment, rent the kingdom. All right. And then let me go back to this again. All right. This is Zechariah chapter 11 and verse 14. And the reason I'm touching this is because, you know, the violence that you see against so-called the black on brown and brown on black violence that you see, particularly in the West Coast and in the prison systems, all right, is a product of this. All right, it's all spiritual at the end of the day through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai. And the only way we're going to come together is in the Spirit of the Heavenly Father. And the Lord is ensuring that. That's why the Lord said he would break up that brotherhood. In Zechariah 11 and 14, then I cut asunder mine other staff, even bands, that I might break the brotherhood between Judah and Israel. And the only way it comes together is in this work, in this ministry, in the Spirit of Yahweh Shema Shai. That's the only way. Because you have our people trying to come together and start businesses or come together with some kind of gangster coalition. Or even during the late 60s, you had a lot of political movements with so-called black and brown, so-called Latino and Negro movements to fight for freedom, so to speak. But the Lord broke that up as well. Because the only way it's going to happen is in the Spirit of Yahweh Shema Shai. Because the Lord is the one that did it in the first place. Again, Zechariah 11 and 14, the Lord said he broke the brotherhood between Judah and Israel. And no man can bring together what the Lord separated. And that's why it only comes together in the ministry. All right. That's the only place you see one staff in the Lord's hand, as it says in Ezekiel, the 37th chapter. And we'll get that, Lord willing. So I want to go back to 1 Kings. So we just read how the Lord proclaimed that the kingdom would be rent from Solomon, which ultimately means it was going to be rent from the house of David. All right, when you look at that through the Spirit, because he said he wasn't going to rent it during Solomon's lifetime, but he was going to take it from Solomon's son. All right, and this is where you begin to see that. So let's jump down 1 Kings 11. And I'm going to jump down to the end. All right, verse 43 reads, and Solomon slept with his fathers, meaning he died, and was buried in the city of David, his father, and Rehoboam, his son, reigned in his stead. All right, now at the top of 1 Kings, the 12th chapter, it reads, and Rehoboam went to Shechem, for all Israel will come to Shechem to make him king. And it came to pass when Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who was yet in Egypt, heard of it, for he was fled from the presence of King Solomon, and Jeroboam dwelt in Egypt, that they sent and called him, and Jeroboam and all the congregation of Israel came and spake unto Rehoboam, saying, thy father made our yoke grievous. Now therefore make thou the grievous service of thy father, and his heavy yoke which he put upon us lighter, and we will serve thee. And he said unto them, depart yet for 3 days, then come again to me. And the people departed. And King Rehoboam consulted with the old men that stood before Solomon his father, while he yet lived, and said, how do ye advise that I may answer this people? And they spake unto him, saying, if thou wilt be a servant unto this people this day, and will serve them, and answer them, and speak good words to them, then they will be thy servants forever. But he forsook the counsel of the old men, which they had given him, and consulted with the young men that were grown up with him, and which stood before him. And he said unto them, what counsel give ye that we may answer this people who have spoken to me, saying, make the yoke which thy father did put upon us lighter. And the young men that were grown up with him spake unto him, saying, thus shalt thou speak unto this people that spake unto thee, saying, thy father made our yoke heavy, but make thou it lighter unto us. Thus shalt thou say unto them, my little finger shall be thicker than my father's loins. And now, whereas my father did lade you with a heavy yoke, I will add to your yoke. My father hath chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions. So Jeroboam and all the people came to Rehoboam the third day, as the king had appointed, saying, come to me again the third day. And the king answered the people roughly, and forsook the old men's counsel that they gave him, and spake to them after the counsel of the young men, saying, my father made your yoke heavy, and I will add to your yoke. My father also chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions. Wherefore the king hearkened not unto the people, for the cause was from the Lord, that he might perform his saying, which the Lord spake by Ahijah the Shilonite unto Jeroboam the son of Nebat. All right, so let's go here real quick. This is Proverbs chapter 21 and 1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. So the Lord put the spirit on Rehoboam to take that counsel, all right, to basically deal harshly with the northern kingdom so that that split would take place. And this is the beginning of the real conflict between the northern and southern kingdom. And what you see today, the black on brown split, is a product of this split. All right, this is the beginning of it. All right, now when you go through the history, you'll see that there were wars fought, literal wars, all right, between the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. It wasn't just a agree to disagree. It got violent. And this is why you see the violence that you see now amongst so-called Negroes and Latinos. Even amongst the ministry, you have certain people who, I'll say amongst the circumcision, not the ministry, but you have those who know that they're Israelites that don't accept the so-called Spanish-speaking tribes. But when you look at the relationship of blacks and browns, as they're called today, it's all spiritual when you look at what actually happened after the split. It was real wars, man. People really died about this. And it's still happening to this day. And no matter how hard our people try to come together on this side without the Lord, it ain't going to happen, man. All right, so let's get some of these examples. All right, I want to start with, so I'll start with this one. All right, this is 2 Chronicles chapter 13 and verse 1. Now, when the 18th year of King Jeroboam began Abijah to reign over Judah, he reigned 3 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was also Micaiah, the daughter of Uriel of Gibeah, and there was war between Abijah and Jeroboam. So you're starting to see these conflicts play out in full scale. You're starting to see it play out. All right, and these things are real. These things actually happen. There was a back and forth war through the life of Jeroboam and Rehoboam. And then it got passed down to their descendants. All right, and then there was fighting within the kingdoms. A fight for the crown, basically. All right, so let's go here. Before I start at 12, I want to continue. I want to jump back a minute. I'm going to start at the top of 2 Chronicles, the 12th chapter. It says, and it came to pass when Rehoboam had established the kingdom and had strengthened himself, he forsook the law of the Lord and all Israel with him. And it came to pass that in the 5th year of King Rehoboam, Shishak, king of Egypt, came up against Jerusalem because they had transgressed against the Lord, with 1,200 chariots and 70,000 horsemen, and the people were without number that came with him out of Egypt, the Lubams, the Sukkams, and the Ethiopians. And he took the fenced cities which pertained to Judah and came to Jerusalem. Then came Shemaiah, the prophet, to Rehoboam, and to the princes of Judah that were gathered together to Jerusalem, because of Shishak, and unto them, thus saith the Lord, ye have forsaken me, and therefore have I also left you in the hand of Shishak. Whereupon the princes of Israel and the king humbled themselves, and they said, the Lord is righteous. And when the Lord saw that they humbled themselves, the word of the Lord came to Shemaiah, saying, they have humbled themselves, therefore I will not destroy them, but I will grant them some deliverance, and my wrath shall not be poured out upon Jerusalem by the hand of Shishak. Nevertheless, they shall be his servants, that they may know my service, and the service of the kingdoms of the countries. So Shishak, king of Egypt, came up against Jerusalem, and took away the treasures of the house of the Lord, and the treasures of the king's house. He took all. He carried away also the shields of gold which Solomon had made, instead of which King Rehoboam made shields of brass, and committed them to the hands of the chief of the guard that kept the entrance of the king's house. And when the king entered into the house of the Lord, the guard came and fetched them, and brought them again into the guard chamber. And when he humbled himself, the wrath of the Lord turned from him, that he would not destroy him altogether. And also in Judah, things went well. So you're starting to see, all right, I'll just continue reading. Verse 13, so King Rehoboam strengthened himself in Jerusalem and reigned, for Rehoboam was 41 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 17 years in Jerusalem, the city which the Lord had chosen out of all the tribes of Israel to put his name there. And his mother's name was Naamah, an Ammonitess. And he did evil because he prepared not his heart to seek the Lord. Now the acts of Rehoboam, first and last, are they not written in the book of Shemaiah the prophet, and of Iddo the seer concerning genealogies? And there were wars between Rehoboam and Jeroboam continually. And Rehoboam slept with his fathers, and was buried in the city of David, and Abijah, his son, reigned in his stead. Now, I just want to read that to get some of the background context, because you're going to see one of the first full conflicts between northern and southern kingdom. Now, it just stated that Rehoboam and Jeroboam were having wars continually. And that's why it's kind of spiritual that the Lord sent Shemaiah to basically say, look, both of y'all last going into captivity under Shishak, if y'all don't get right. And they did enough just to be back in the same mix. And these are just examples of how the Lord, there was a constant back and forth. And these are words that we read, but there were real politics going on between northern and southern kingdom, and real blood was being shed, man. All right, so I'm going to just read a little bit of this. 2 Chronicles 13:1. Now in the 18th year of the king of Jeroboam began Abijah to reign over Judah. He reigned 3 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name also was Micaiah, the daughter of Uriel of Gibeah. And there was war between Abijah and Jeroboam. So now Jeroboam is fighting against Solomon, not Solomon's son, but Rehoboam's son. And Abijah set the battle in array with an army of valiant men of war, even 400,000 chosen men. Jeroboam also set the battle in array against him with 800,000 chosen men, being mighty men of valor. And Abijah stood up upon Mount Zemaraim, which is in Mount Ephraim, and said, hear me, thou Jeroboam and all Israel. Ought ye not to know that the Lord power of Israel gave the kingdom over to Israel, to David forever, even to him, to his sons, by a covenant of salt? Yet Jeroboam the son of Nebat, the servant of Solomon the son of David, is risen up and hath rebelled against his Lord. And there are gathered unto him vain men, the children of Belial, and have strengthened themselves against Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, when Rehoboam was young and tenderhearted, and could not withstand them. And now ye think to withstand the kingdom of the Lord in the hand of the sons of David. And ye be a great multitude, and there are with you golden calves, which Jeroboam made you for gods. Because they were going flat off, man. All right, verse 9. Have ye not cast out the priest of the Lord, the sons of Aaron, and the Levites, and have made you priests after the manner of the nations of other lands? So that whosoever cometh to consecrate himself with a young bullock and 7 rams, the same may be a priest of them that are no gods. But as for us, the Lord is our God, and we have not forsaken him, and the priests which minister unto the Lord, are the sons of Aaron, and the Levites wait upon their business. And they burn unto the Lord every morning and every evening burnt sacrifices and sweet incense. And the shewbread also set they in order upon the pure table, and the candlestick of gold with the lamps thereof, to burn every evening. For we keep the charge of the Lord our God, but ye have forsaken him. And behold, Yahweh Shemaiah himself is with us, for our captain and his priests with sounding trumpets to cry alarm against you. O children of Israel, fight ye not against the Lord power of your fathers, for ye shall not prosper. But Jeroboam caused an ambushment to come up behind them. So they were before Judah, and the ambushment was behind them. So he basically surrounded them. He had a set of troops behind the army, and then he had the main army in front of them. And those are odds that are in your favor when you look at warfare. But check this out. It says, and when Judah looked back, behold, the battle was before and behind, and they cried unto the Lord, and the priests sounded the trumpets. Then the men of Judah gave a shout, and as the men of Judah shouted, it came to pass that Yahweh Shemaiah smote Jeroboam and all Israel before Abijah and Judah. And the children of Israel fled before Judah, and Yahweh Shemaiah delivered them into their hand. And Abijah and his people slew them with a great slaughter. So there fell down slain of Israel 500,000 chosen men. So this is an example of real blood being shed, man. These are real examples, all right? And you can see how it trickles down to the conflict, especially outside its truth, of the northern southern kingdom, particularly when you deal with the West Coast, because it's real. It's gang warfare, gang politics. Where if they see a so-called Negro in their neighborhoods, it's going down in a real way, whether you affiliated or not. And all of that violence goes back to the curses, and it goes back to the Lord saying he would rent the kingdom. All right, now this is the last example I want to pull up. All right, and this is, again, going back into the lineage of Solomon, who are reigning. All right, the lineage of King David, who are reigning at this point, and they're still having these conflicts because, again, the Lord rent the kingdom, and they're all having this warfare over territory and different issues, but it all goes back to the Lord renting the kingdom. And the only way it's coming back together is in the spirit of Yahweh Shemaiah. All right, so 2 Chronicles 28:1, Ahaz was 20 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 16 years in Jerusalem. But he did not that which was right in the sight of the Lord, like David his father. For he walked in the ways of the kings of Israel, and made also molten images for Balaam. Moreover, he burnt incense in the valley of the son of Hinnom, and burnt his children in the fire, after the abominations of the heathen, whom the Lord had cast out before the children of Israel. He sacrificed also and burnt incense in the high places, and on the hills, and under every green tree. Wherefore the Lord his power delivered him into the hand of the king of Syria, and they smote him, and carried away a great multitude of them captives, and brought them to Damascus. And he was also delivered into the hand of the king of Israel, who smote him with a great slaughter. For Pekah, the son of Remaliah, slew in Judah 120,000 in one day, which were all valiant men, because they had forsaken the Lord power of their fathers. And Zikri, a mighty man of Ephraim, slew Maaseiah, the king's son, and Azrikam, the governor of the house, and Elkanah, that was next to the king. And the children of Israel carried away captive of their brethren 200,000 women, sons, and daughters, and took also away much spoil from them, and brought the spoil to Samaria. But a prophet of the Lord was there, whose name was Oded, and he went out before the host that came to Samaria, and said unto them, Behold, because the Lord power of your fathers was wroth with Judah, he hath delivered them into your hand, and he hath slain them in a rage that reacheth up unto heaven. Man, this shows you it was real. It was real, man. And this is why you can see the remnants of that same divide in the culture now, outside of the ministry. All right, continuing, it says this, and now ye purpose to keep under the children of Judah and Jerusalem for bondmen and bondwomen unto you. But are there not with you, even with you, sins against the Lord your God? Now hear me therefore, and deliver the captives again, which ye have taken captive of your brethren, for the fierce wrath of the Lord is upon you. And these are two examples. All right, I'll just say that. It's just two examples because there were many occasions. But these are two examples that really highlight how this so-called black and brown conflict, what it really goes back to, the source of it. And that just like it's real now, even under the banner of Latino or Negro, whatever gang they claim, even though it's real, using those proverbs and bywords, it ultimately goes back to the spirit. All right. Now, you know what? I'll just read this to conclude it. 2 Chronicles 28:12. Then certain of the heads of the children of Ephraim, Azariah the son of Johanan, Berechiah the son of Meshillemoth, and Jehizekiah the son of Shallum, and Amasa the son of Hadlai, stood up against them that came from the war, and said unto them, Ye shall not bring in the captives hither. For whereas we have offended against the Lord already, ye intend to add more to our sins and to our trespass. For our trespass is great, and there is fierce wrath against Israel. So the armed men left the captives and the spoil before the princes and all the congregation. And the men which were expressed by name rose up and took the captives, and with the spoil clothed all that were naked among them, and arrayed them, and shod them, and gave them to eat and to drink, and anointed them, and carried all the feeble of them upon asses, and brought them to Jericho, the city of palm trees, to their brethren. Then they returned to Samaria. So Northern Kingdom slew Judah, took them captives, and then, the Lord sent a prophet, a messenger, to rebuke them, and then they returned the Southern Kingdom back to their land. But these are examples of how real it got, that split. All right. Now, the beautiful thing about it is that that split is coming to an end. All right. And you can see it in the ministry, beginning with the elect. Lord willing, we be a part of that number. All right. So I'm going to jump down to the point. This is Ezekiel 37:15. The word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, Moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah and for the children of Israel, his companions. Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel, his companions. And join them one to another into one stick, and they shall become one in thine hand. And when the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, Wilt thou not show us what thou meanest by these? Say unto them, Thus saith the Lord power, Behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel his fellows, and will put them with him, even the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in mine hand. And the sticks whereon thou writest shall be in thine hand before their eyes. And say unto them, Thus saith the Lord power, Behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither they be gone, and will gather them on every side, and bring them into their own land. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all. And they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms any more at all. Call Allah Yahweh Shemal Shah. And that's the good news. I meditate on this, just speaking as a man. If the tribes were together right now with one common enemy, man, it will be a problem. And that's why it only comes together through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemal Shah. All right. And that's why when this does happen in its fullness, all right, the world is going to see something they're not ready, and it don't matter. All right. Matter of fact, let's go here. This is Zechariah chapter 9. And I'm going to jump down to verse 13. The point is in 13. I'll start at 12. Turn you to the stronghold, ye prisoners of hope. That's a part of our hope, man. Seeing our nation together in righteousness, man. No more divided, no more split. No more subscribing to proverbs and bywords. That's a part of our hope, that we will no longer be a nation scattered, but a nation gathered in righteousness through the Spirit, beginning with the elect. Lord willing, we be a part of that number. All right. Again, Zechariah 9:12, turn you to the stronghold, ye prisoners of hope. Even today do I declare that I will render double unto thee, when I have bent Judah for me, filled the bow with Ephraim, and raised up thy sons, O Zion, against thy sons, O Greece, and made thee as the sword of a mighty man. So Lord willing, this was edifying. With that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rukakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yashar Allah, and a sincere salutation to all Yuakim, who are preaching this word and believing this word, and to the Akwath, who are believing this word in all truth and in sincerity. Shalom.